I'm too excited to talk about these matches to even think about an intro or anything beyond hello, so hello. I think it's safe to say that this match went exactly how we all expected it to, really. Liverpool with a ton of the ball, dominating through their midfielders. Thiago in particular had a stunning match, utilizing their width and whipping in crosses to their front three, which was difficult to do at times. Not because they were having difficulty in the wide areas or anything, but because when Villarreal would sit back, their shape would resemble something like a 4-5-1. Plenty of help for that back line, you could say. As expected, most of Liverpool's attack came down their right-hand side, and I say as expected because Pervis Estupiñán is absolutely who you would want to target, and thus Liverpool overloaded that side with not only Alexander-Arnold joining the attack, as he always does, but Jordan Henderson often playing quite wide as well in order to combine with Salah, as you can see from this graphic that shows the average position of the Liverpool players in their match against Villarreal. And in case you were curious, here are the average positions for Villarreal's players, and what stands out to me is Raúl Albiol dropping much deeper than Torres, likely due to those curling diagonal balls that Liverpool like to play in behind the defenders for the likes of Mane to run onto and finish. He isn't as sprightly as he once was, Albiol that is, so positioning is his best weapon against that, and certainly it beats trying to beat Sadio Mane for acceleration. For the most part, they managed to keep Liverpool at arm's length in that first half. In fact, one of those sweeping diagonal balls in behind the defenders was probably Liverpool's best chance of the first half. But Mane misjudged the flight of the ball, and the chance went begging. Yes, Thiago also hit the woodwork right where the post and crossbar meet, and Diaz had a couple of strikes as well from distance. But as far as decent opportunities, or potentially decent opportunities, in behind the defenders, that opportunity was Sadio Mane, and probably that was the best one of the half. As for Villarreal, they really offered close to zero going forward, as I found that Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, while they would still definitely push up to join the attack, they didn't seem to be as high up as they often are when attacking other teams, as whenever Villarreal would try to transition quickly, their attack would get snuffed out relatively easily. I think this was intentional from Klopp, as he would have seen how Villarreal's wide men burned Juve and Bayern on the counter, and he must have told Trent and Robertson to stay back just a tad more. Throughout the entirety of this match, Villarreal's expected goals was just 0.14, which is one of the lowest numbers I've seen in recent memory. But all of that being said, Liverpool needed a little bit of luck in order for the yellow wall to come down. And I'm not talking about the one in Dortmund. That would be horrible. With Henderson joining the attack down that right side with Salah, which again, with Trent staying back a bit, that probably explains why Henderson was occupying that space a bit more, and Thiago on the other side. But the Liverpool captain's attempted cross deflected off of Estupiñán and looped over Rulli for 1-0. Now, a lot of people are giving Rulli a hard time for this, but I mean, he stepped out to set himself as the cross was coming. It got deflected. And I mean, he's not a giant like Jan Oblak or something. So there's a chance that the ball will loop over him even then. And the ball was close to hitting the post and staying out. I think people are being a bit harsh on the guy. He jumps out to set himself and then he has to jump back. That's tough. But I'm not a keeper myself, so someone else can sound off in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong on this one. I'm here for it. And you knew that once they got one, another would come. And it was a brilliant through ball from Salah through the legs of Pau Torres, and Sadio Mane continued his great form by poking it past the stranded Rulli, his 20th of the season, as he has now scored 20 plus goals in 4 of the last 5 seasons for Liverpool. 20 for Mane, 21 for Jota, 30 for Salah. I mean, you could call that a decent attack, I guess. And the rest of the match was taken at a canter, really. Villarreal not wanting to suffer more goals, while Liverpool were probably just happy with their deficit and started to manage the game. Going away to Villarreal will be more difficult. As Klopp said, Liverpool have to be awake and aware, as this is the equivalent to being 2-0 up at halftime in a match. You can't sleepwalk through the second half, that's obvious. For Emery, he'll probably be in two minds about this, mostly frustrated, as no doubt they would have wanted to keep it at 0-0 or a 1-0 loss, and had that deflected cross not gone in, who knows. Maybe Liverpool wouldn't have scored, but it seems likely that they would have regardless. Now, Villarreal has a mountain to climb. Wow. Real Madrid continue to be a magnet for some of the most entertaining matches in the Champions League knockout rounds. PSG, Chelsea, and now this. Once again, they have managed to provide the goals, and this match, it was just... it was fun, wasn't it? A 7-goal thriller, not something we get to talk about too often, as someone would be forgiven for mistaking the score of this match for the overall aggregate across 2 matches, where so many teams try to play a tight defensive game and take what they can get. Real Madrid and Man City went all in like two amateur boxers just trying to throw haymaker after haymaker and not protecting their own face in between punches. It was so much fun to watch, and it's nice having reminders now and then of just how fun football can be to watch. City started incredibly well, with the movement of Kevin De Bruyne clearly causing some issues for Real Madrid. He started centrally. He would often be found on that left flank, overloading that left flank with Phil Foden, where he had more room to run at players. Then he would pop up in the box, just as he did to get on the end of Mahrez's cross to head past Courtois. A bit of an indictment on Real's defense is there's only ever one outcome when Mahrez is in that position. He's going to cut inside onto that wand of a left foot and either hit a strike at goal or play a teasing cross in, as he did on this occasion. Don't worry, I'll talk about the defensive issues in this game later on. City began cutting through Real Madrid seemingly at will in that first half, and another goal came just 9 minutes later as Gabriel Jesus, the 4-goal man from the weekend, continued his form by spinning David Alaba. Bit of an overcommit from David Alaba there, to be honest. And then Gabby slotted past Courtois for 2-0. But despite showing very little life, when you have Karim Benzema in your team, you always have an opportunity, and a ball into the box from Ferland Mendy was deftly guided past Ederson to make it 2-1. That helped to change the tides of the match a bit, as Real Madrid began exploiting that left flank of theirs, City's right, where an injured John Stones was struggling and was taken off for Fernandinho. I mean, just uttering Vinicius Jr. versus Fernandinho, there's only one direction that battle can go. Sure, Fernandinho, with all of his experience, can utilize his positioning and strength on the ball, but eventually a time will come where he would be forced into a foot race with Vinny, and we'll get to that. When he's playing centrally, his pace isn't that much of an issue. But when he's playing out on the wing where there's lots of room, ay. On the other side of halftime, Phil Foden finally got himself a goal as he had spurned many opportunities. The assist from a roving Fernandinho, by the way. But just 2 minutes later, the roving Fernandinho was the rolling Fernandinho. That doesn't work. But anyways, Vinicius beat him by not even touching the ball and allowing it to go through Fernandinho's legs. And then he just spammed the sprint button all the way down the pitch and scored. It was very much a FIFA goal, as I was saying in the stream. Just all R2 and right joystick before slotting it in. Bernardo Silva would score a stunner, though some questions could be asked of Courtois on this one. I mean, take nothing away from the strike, though, as he beat the keeper at his near post and the placement was great, but still. 4-2 at that point, but a handball from Laporte will give Real Madrid an opportunity for a third, and who else would you want stepping up but Karim Benzema? And of course, he had to convert in the iciest manner there is with a Panenka straight down the middle, and he is on course to match Cristiano Ronaldo's record of 17 goals in a single Champions League campaign. He can do it. With the rate that he's been scoring lately, he could do it. He's sitting on 14 now. 4-3, the final for Manchester City at the Etihad, and I think what defined this match, A, the class of the attacking players on the pitch, of course, we got to give it up to them first and foremost, but the reason as to why there were so many goals, absences. For City, both Cancelo and Walker were missing, while Real Madrid were missing Casemiro, and the absences of all of these players were so telling. For City, of course, the right back position was where they hurt the most, and on top of that, you guys know I'm a huge Ruben Dias defender, but he looked like a player who is still just returning from injury, as he is. But yes, Stones and then Fernandinho in the right back role isn't great compared to Walker, who will be a massive boost to their back line, as will the service and the brilliance of Cancelo, if both of those players are fit in time. As for Real Madrid, Casemiro's absence was glaringly obvious, especially in that first half where time and time again, you could see that Madrid's midfielders were failing to cover the back line, meaning either Militão or Alaba would be dragged forward out of position to contest a ball in the midfield, leaving tons of space for City's fluid attack to run into the vacated space behind them, thus breeding so many chances from lightning quick transitions. It'll be interesting to see the next match as there are so many variables to contend with. Real Madrid playing in front of the Bernabeu with the crowd up for it, Casemiro returning to cover the back line a bit better, while City will also have an improved back line as well, and likely won't give up the kind of goals that they did in the first leg, at least that second goal, you would think. Regardless, it's going to be a blast, and it has all of the makings of a barn burner. As Pep said after the match, when both teams are down to attack, it makes for a great spectacle, like that first leg. All right, guys, those are all of the thoughts I've had for this week's matches. Thankfully, we don't have to wait too long for the second legs, as that would be torture. But hey, a huge thank you for watching this video. It is greatly appreciated. And if you appreciate the content, then a like is all I ask for. Unless you aren't subscribed, then in that case, get the hell out. I'm kidding. Just subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated. All right, guys, enjoy your day. Ciao.